and what she thought when that not guilty verdict was read. But it's been a trying case for both the state and the defense. Now, since the beginning of this trial, Betty Shelby's attorneys have stated that they believe that the state did not have enough evidence to prove that she acted in the heat of passion as stated in her first-degree manslaughter charge. And obviously the jury agreed with that theory by coming to a verdict of not guilty in this case. And so we'll have more for you on this story, and we'll let you know if anything happens up here, Clay and Shay.
Ashley, thank you. Let's go right now, without any further delay, to Tiffany Albanese. And she has a news conference right now she's covering.
In response to that, I told her God is still in control, and you remember that. I have 4 grandchildren that are at home now that has lost their daddy. I said that I would accept whatever the verdict was, and I'm going to do that. To let it be known that I believe in my heart that Betty Shelby got away with murder. And I don't know what was in the mind of that jury, how they could come to that conclusion. There was precise evidence that said she was guilty. And I'm going on record to say to them, you did your job, but I'm wondering, what were you thinking about?
All right. Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot!
Emotional reaction from your dad, Tiffany.
Just give your response. Give your response.
This is definitely a tough pill to swallow. The facts were there. All the elements of manslaughter was there. Terrence's hands were up. Terrence was not an imminent threat. Terrence did not attack her. Terrence did not charge at her. Terrence was not the aggressor. Betty Shelby was the aggressor. Betty Shelby had the gun. Betty Shelby was following him with his hands up. Betty Shelby murdered my brother. And after she murdered my brother, all of the officers involved with the Tulsa Police Department tried to cover for her. What I got out of this case is that a cover-up was exposed. A cover-up was exposed. And they walked by my brother to go check on Betty Joe. In the last few breaths of my brother's life, he laid there alone. And nobody held his hand. Nobody said, Terrence, or hey, are you okay? He had to lay there alone. And these are officers who are paid to serve and protect us. Paid and served to protect us. Trained to deal with people who are supposedly intoxicated or inebriated. But yet you used deadly force. No weapon was found. Terrence had just left school. Terrence had just left Tulsa Community College. Because he wanted to do something with his life. And I just thank God that he doesn't judge us as our sins deserve.
Yeah.
So all of the critics that are out there who are trying to judge my brother's last statement was, God is going to get the glory out of my life. And I'm going to make sure that I don't rest until we get reform for this police department in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we change the culture of this corrupt police department. And I believe that all of those officers involved, they're going to be held accountable. Because this family right here, we believe in a higher power. We believe in a higher judge. And so now we got to go home. We have to go home and hug on his 4 kids and love on them and explain to them a system that's perpetuated so much injustice, a justice system that's perpetuated so much injustice. And I promise you, I won't rest until we break that chain. Let's go.
think for Attorney Crump and I, we're astounded that this jury could look at the evidence that was presented in front of them and allow Betty Shelby to walk out this courtroom. The most astounding thing for us as lawyers, as officers of the court, is to see the Tulsa Police Department admit under oath on the stand to what the DA determined as a setup from day one. From what the DA said was a way to make Betty Jo Shelby the victim. A way for what the DA stated as a cover-up for the death of Terrence Tafford Crutcher Sr., father of 4, twin sister to 1, son to loving parents. Let's not forget that Terrence is the victim here. It was Terrence that was killed in the street. And if one thing that we are thankful for in this night of injustice is that so much of what TPD has done in this case has been exposed in this court of law.
On the heels of Eric Gardner in New York, Michael Brown in Ferguson, Freddie Gray in Baltimore, the list just goes on of unarmed African-American men being killed by white police officers, and they get away with it. I really thought that with the incredible job that the district attorney did in showing the lies and the cover-up of this investigation, that Tulsa would be the example that said all American citizens are granted their due process of the law. And it does not matter if you are a young African-American man. Unfortunately, I was wrong.
Clay and Shay, you've been listening to your family. This is right here. You can see, obviously, very, very upset. Fox 23's Jonathan McCall and I both just standing here listening to that. And Jonathan, obviously, some just extreme emotion out of the Crutcher family.
Yeah, you know what? They have been very gracious with their time in the past to tell more about Terrence's life, and also just to learn more about them, learn more about this case. And obviously, they just believe that that this was just a case of injustice for them. Obviously, we've been sitting in the courtroom listening to that testimony. We were watching family members who had been meeting with the DA for the last hour or so, and then for the DA or so come out, obviously very emotional, crying, some of them screaming in tears, going down the elevator and more, just because of this verdict. So a very emotional night for that family.
One of the things that struck me is, we have seen them since the day after this happened in September, and every single time they've been commended by city officials, they've been commended by police officers about the fact that they have remained so calm. I'm watching now because I'm seeing District Attorney Steve Kunzweiler come out. He's waiting, I think, to speak with us right now. I've had set up to talk to him, so I'm going to make sure he's not ready to do an interview. But we have talked to the Crutcher family so many times, and they have always remained calm. They've always said that they don't want any violence. They don't want any peace. They're not calling for it tonight either. But this is certainly the most upset and the most rattled we've seen them. Mr. Crutcher saying that he believes that Betty Shelby got away with murder. However, also saying that they will go home and reassure Terrence Crutcher's children tonight that everything will still be okay. You heard Tiffany Crutcher saying that she will not rest until there is reform, until there are some changes. So obviously just very, very emotional. I think we are now going to go and try to talk to the district attorney, and I'll let you know what he had to say in just a few minutes. Clay and Shay, obviously just a very emotional night here at the courthouse.
All right, Tiffany, thank you. And Shay, there's some